Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cheap Seats. This is your weekly English Premier League show. Yes, English Premier League that ended last week, so we're in the review season. So we're going to be talking all things that have happened in the past season in 2020 and 2021, and also discuss some other things that happened this week that some people might not be happy about. People remembering that they're Spanish somehow and missing penalties. But we'll talk about that as we go through the show. But before we do anything, please do like, subscribe, and follow us on these different platforms. Most importantly is to like on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube video, and also subscribe to it. Gets us into the algorithms with all the discussions of the Premier League. I've got Dean and I've got AB. Before I do anything else, Dean, how are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, beating Leicester 4-2, finishing above Arsenal.
I blame Brendan Rodgers.
It's the only trophy I needed to play for at the end of the day, and we've won it. So,
what is your version of St. Totteringham's Day, whatever it is?
Normal proceedings.
Okay.
No, but it started off terribly, and I think there's a lot of rumors now going on with the club, and some good things, some bad things. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have a bit more clarity and see where the club's going to go. It could go really good or it could go even worse than where it is now, which is hard to believe, but we shall see.
So there's a show here. There's a show in South Africa called Love Back, when guys who missed their exes go to that ex's house and ask for the love to come back. So we're experiencing it right now. Allegri's gone back to Juventus. Spurs are supposedly talking about Pochettino. I know you're happy about that. What must Daniel Levy do to bring the man back?
Get on his hands and knees and go to Paris and beg for the man to come back. I mean, there's a lot of talk that PSG aren't ready to let him go. And I can understand he's got a year left on that contract. They're probably not that willing to kind of move. But then you also get reports of Poch being interested. He has said he wants to come back to Spurs. Kind of guys didn't expect it to be this soon, I would have imagined. So that's why there's a bit of to and fro. I mean, at the moment, coaches are chopping and changing all over the place. So, Conte loses his job, then Zidane leaves, then Allegri's all of a sudden back to being a coach. It's crazy. So we'll see. Like I said, Poch coming back would be amazing just because I think it would, first of all, win over some supporters back. And I think a rebuild, and I trust the rebuild under Poch more than I trust the rebuild under any manager at the moment.
Or Ryan Mason.
Well, definitely Ryan Mason. So, we'll see. That's why as a Spurs fan, you don't want to get your hopes up because you think Poch is coming or you think Conte is coming, and then all of a sudden you get hit with Graham Potter or Roberto Martinez. So, kind of trying to keep a level head, but it's hard when you see all these
Big Sam.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Daniel Levy. So
AB,
we'll see.
AB, what happened last night? Like, what was
last night, I just had some dinner, went to bed early. It was a good night. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you did not watch the disaster.
No, I did watch.
I mean, I wish I didn't watch. It was a waste of my time.
I mean, okay, guys, it was probably some of the worst football I've seen in a cup final, but if you were Villarreal, that was a perfect 120 minutes. You're not going to go out there and dominate a game. You're not going to go out there and try and hog all the possession. You're going to go out there, you're going to try and be compact, you're going to try and work harder than the other team, and you're going to try and score a very, very good goal by playing on some of the opponent's weaknesses, and you're going to try and hold on to that lead. Look, I mean, penalties are penalties, but if you look at Rulli in goal, I think he dived the wrong way, I think twice out of the 11 penalties. He was always very close, whereas De Gea, I think, dived the right way maybe 3-4 times. So, even though it really was question marked as was he going to start, was it going to be a senior? We didn't know. Great for Villarreal, and when you turn up on the big day, it may not be attractive football, but it's winning football. Well done to them. Jeez.
So speaking about Loveback, that man who won that title, as in he's won it 4 out of 5 times. But the problem is
who didn't he win it with?
He didn't win.
Who didn't he win it with him, Paul?
I know, right? And I was not going, what's going on? Like, what did we do to deserve this? So that was a little bit of a heartache for me. Also, he beat us in the semi-final. That was another situation. I can't believe we lost to that team. I honestly cannot believe we lost to that Villarreal team of 180 minutes. It is just, it's mind-boggling. But
at least you lost to the eventual winners. Like, at least there's some pride in that.
Okay, so let's leave it. But here's the question, right? And this is the question, our first question of the day is, what is Ole's ceiling? Is Fabian Pochettino? Because I look at all these finals and I'm like, this guy can't win a tournament, a cup game. He better be better in the league next season. Because I think maybe he can win a league, but like cup tournaments, cup finals, cup semi-finals, they just don't work for him.
But I mean, I saw a stat that, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's been there 3 years, right? Close on 3 years. And he spent 300 million. Does that sound... Yeah. He spent 300 million, 2.5 years, and nothing. Put that in anyone else's game, any other team.
But they did come second. Yeah. And they're playing in the Champions League.
But if City had to finish, if that was City, Pep's also jobs on the line. If that was Liverpool, jobs on the line. So
well, not Liverpool. I think Liverpool went through that period.
Not Liverpool, but
and City. Let's calm down. Pep was the same dude who signed a back five and replaced them the next season. Let's calm down with.
And he's going to replace them next season.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nathan Ake is out.
Spending money doesn't really mean you're going to get fired.
Nathan Ake is playing like he's at Bournemouth still. Man hasn't realized he's moved to Manchester.
But AB, how long are you guys going to have to give him until you're gonna say, okay, fine, dude, like we need to win something now?
So I think there's two aspects to this. I think the board are quite comfortable with Ollie. He's getting them the top 4. He's getting them the ticket to the big leagues. There is clear progress. The 74 points is 74 points. But I feel that this United team has a mentality issue. And if you look at that team, the leaders in that squad last night were Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes. Okay, Cavani was a leader, but you can't really lead when you're that number 9. That's why they're so easily interchangeable. They're so easily sold. So you shouldn't be looking to McTominay, who's a kid, and Bruno, who's your brand new signing for that sort of, come guys, let's get focused here. Maguire was injured, but he wasn't really going to go and score you that goal because he doesn't score many goals in the United shirt. I feel like there's a culture in the United team that would have really helped or would have improved if they won last night. Yes, it's the Europa League, and it's like second prize, but that's where I'm fearful for Ollie, because if he gets the signings he wants, if he gets a Declan Rice sort of player, a Jadon Sancho, a Rafael Varane sort of player, those big 3 that can change this team, what happens when you're in another semi-final? Can you then turn around and say, okay, Paul, imagine you're playing for France. Okay, Rashford, imagine you're now playing against, I don't know, Leeds United. Can they turn it up on the big stage? Because when I looked at the team last night, there was a lack of passion, a lack of fire, and the guys just didn't transition between playing an away game in the Premier League into playing in a cup final, and I was really worried about that.
Does that give you pause as to maybe this guy has a ceiling? Because looking at the substitutions Unai Emery was making yesterday, you knew what his role was. He was there to defend whatever ground he had, and in that point in time, he had to defend that 1-1 with his life. So he put on a lot of defenders. He stuffed that midfield. But when I looked at the substitutions that our friend made, like I was like surprised at Alex Telles, and I was like, okay, maybe he's looking for someone on the right. He's taking Rashford off. I know the guys were tired. He rested them during the weekend, so I was just really confused as to if you're chasing a game, go to one pivot, get rid of that second pivot, which you did with Pogba, but then instead of putting on like a left-sided, put on an attacker, throw someone in the middle, and then go either long ball or crosses. But it kind of felt as though he keeps on getting outworked in big games by managers he shouldn't be outworked by. For instance, you can't be outworked by Unai Emery with that talent. Juan Foyth doesn't even play for Tottenham.
Don't mention Juan Foyth. Mention anyone else.
No, I'm getting there.
Well, I mean, Edin Capoue, for example.
Edin Capoue in December, guess where he was playing? He was playing for Watford against Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Francis Coquelin can't even make it at Valencia, but you're losing to this ragtag band of Alberto Moreno Oaks. Like,
that was shocking to me.
And you're 100% right there, Paul. It's like, and unfortunately, and this is something that Ollie needs to work on, is Ollie knows what his preferred 11 is, and he doesn't trust anyone outside of that. He does not trust Donny van der Beek. He doesn't. We know this. He does not trust Alex Telles, brand new signing. He kind of likes Daniel James, but he knows Daniel James has a ceiling. So when he put his starting 11 out, that was the best that United team was going to be, ever. And if you look at the games that United have been successful in, yes, they'll go down 1-0 or whatever the case may be, but there's always something that comes from the bench that impacts your second half that springs United into life, whether it be Pogba coming on or Rashford or Greenwood or a Cavani or whoever. However, when you look at that bench in the second half, once United were dominating, so once they got that lucky goal from Cavani, there should have been another change, but there was no one there. Arguably, you could have thrown on Ahmad and you could have thrown on Donny van der Beek, who are, 70 mil or so in terms of signings, but Ollie didn't trust them. And that, for me, is also a critical issue within Ollie's management, is how is he going to now go into the new season? Because so take the last, move on. The season's over for United. Enjoy the break. How is he going to transcend this starting 11, which he has, into a Premier League winning squad, which is what the fans want? And that is the biggest risk. Because when you're trying to win a league, you can't play Bruno Fernandes 38 games in a row. You can't play Harry Maguire 38 games in a row. It's not going to work. You need to trust your squad.
Well, center-backs can play 38 games in a row, especially. But
they can.
If you're fighting off relegation, it's more advised for you to do that.
Exactly. But not when you're playing Champions League football and FA Cup football and want to. It's a squad game, and Ollie needs to trust his squad. And
you end up with a Van Dijk situation because all it's going to take is one injury to those.
Or a Harry Maguire situation. He got injured. Fairly simple, and then now you've got Eric Bailly, who's played.
Guys, I actually liked the Eric Bailly sighting we saw yesterday. I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. Like, I'm in. He signed a new
Man
deal.
looked amused at every time he got the whistle blown against him. I've never seen someone look so surprised at him giving fouls away.
No, but look, I like defenders like Eric Bailly who are quicker than the main centre back to be able to come and get rid of it. There are moments of madness there a little bit. But I like Eric Bailly. I'm like, as a backup, he's very good. And it was like, the problem I had was Lindelof on the other side. And he got worked by, I don't even know who.
I don't know who the guys' names are.
Was it Gerard Moreno, actually?
Yeah, guys, Gerard Moreno is class. Fair enough. He scored 30 goals this season.
No, he's
good.
Fair.
Yeah.
So Villarreal finished 7th.
Harry Kane's a golden boot winner.
So, Dean, to close this out, you've seen this with Poch. Poch was let go because somehow he couldn't reach the promised land. Do you have any advice for the brother? Should he stay? Should he let him go? How long should he wait before they start asking the Glazers to fire Ollie? Because he's not.
So, my thing is, if you have a look at the position Spurs were in with Poch versus the position United are in, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, United have their pedigree, they've got their history, they want to win, they've got a history of winning, and that's where they see themselves as sort of the norm, right? Whereas Spurs were kind of coming from a point of, okay, we've up and coming, and now we've got a coach that's cemented, and we can kind of push on from here. So it's a bit different in that respect. But I think in terms of the situation at Spurs, Poch moving on was obviously the biggest mistake I would say that the club's made in the last good couple, probably 20 years, I would say, because of what. Obviously, there were rumors of he lost the dressing room and whatever, but if you gave Poch what he needed at the time when he needed it, I think Spurs would be in a much better position than what they are now. I don't think you can say the same for United, and that's just because of a case of they're not in the same position. Again, they are in a place where they should be used to winning. They should be driving to win, and you should have a coach who, fine, even if you don't know how to win, you should be at least trying. And I agree with AB. You look at those players on that field, and I mean, for Rashford to miss that sitter, then you start putting doubts of, well, he doesn't normally miss that, so why is he missing it? And it could be a player mistake, but it was just happening too much over the field. I mean, Scott McTominay played well, but he barely made a pass going forward. So it's little things like that where that's the difference.
74% of his passes were forward. Okay.
No.
How many?
74%,
yes.
Okay, well,
but where else can he pass to? He's the only man sitting there in that midfield line. He has to pass forward.
I saw a stat that apparently he didn't pass that much forward, but okay, maybe my Twitter's bias compared to AB's bias.
Look, if he's passing, it depends on what the angle is. Because if he's passing side to side, it could
if he's
still be
passing
going forward.
1 degree forward to Pogba, it doesn't count.
Exactly,
as a
so
forward
it is
pass.
forward.
But I think. I mean, the thing is, you have to look and you think, okay, with all the chops and changes happening in management, is it not maybe a case of all these big names are now available in terms of coaching? So you kind of think, well, maybe, if United want to make the change, this is probably in more recent times, the only time I can remember so many big name coaches being all available at the same time. So I think United are in a bit of a tricky zone. They're kind of thinking,
Ooh, Zidane.
Zidane.
You do Zidane.
I mean, you can't not look at these coaches. That's the thing. You can't raise your nose at Conte. You just can't do that at the moment. So there's a lot of movements. And look, I honestly think United will probably stick with Ole. And they'll probably stay around and, give him another couple million next season and sign some players that he doesn't like. But if that's the route United go, then you can't be upset with finishing second and losing to Villarreal in the Europa League again. So it's a big moment of change in United.
AB, was it a good season? Was it a successful season?
No, it was a good season, but wasn't a successful season.
Will you take that in Ole's year 3? Because this is his year 3.
Well, it's his second full season because he had half the season and then he had a full first season, and this is his second full.
Yeah, okay, I mean 2.5. Would you take this?
Yeah, I would take this happily, but also I do have some issues with the recruitment. So, I mean, 73
we'll talk about
points.
That at the end of the show.
Okay,
So essentially, you guys are a penalty away from a Europa League. Essentially, that's what you're saying. And
look, I mean, I'm not too phased with the shootout. The shootout was great and it was entertaining, and well done to all the players because there were great penalties. What I'm fussed about was it should never have gone to a shootout. Man United should have won the game hands down, but we should never have gone to a shootout. But Premier League wise, I mean, second position, it was impossible to beat City. They were just in a league of their own without a striker. So next season, they're going to be even better. Next season, they're going to break the 90 points if they play like they did now with a Harry Kane. Or Harry Kane type striker, someone to replace Aguero, because they didn't have Aguero.
Like Cyrus, he might just bring out a Richarlison, you never know, and leave Harry Kane to the rest of you guys.
Yeah, so I agree with Ollie. It's not a successful season, but it's a good season in comparison to last season, where we finished third. Now we're finishing second. There's progress.
Wow. Okay, that's good. So we're good. So now let's move over to our next topic of conversation. Now it's our award season. Season is over. Now we're giving out the awards. The first awards or group of awards, and I'm going to ask you guys to give me a few names of the guys you think fit this category. So the first one is, who are the stars of the season? Who are the guys who lit up the Premier League in 2020, 2021? I know Dean's going to say Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
The dude won Golden Boot and Playmaker.
You can't ignore it. Exactly.
But here's a question, Dean. Do you also cry? Did you cry on Sunday? We're never going to see this again.
I mean, a part of me did know that we're probably not going to see him in a Spurs shirt. But again, it's bittersweet because you're happy for what he's done for the club, but at the same time, you're kind of upset that he's going to go. But there's that little bit of hope that's like, oh no, he's got Spurs in his heart. You know, I watched that interview that he did with Gary Neville while playing golf for Sky Sports, and I was like looking for positives. That he was like, no, I love Spurs. I was like, yes, that's the part I'm going to focus on, not the fact that you want to have an honest conversation with the chairman and you wish you played with Kevin De Bruyne. So, bit of both. But yeah, I don't think you can look past Harry Kane. But yeah.
What about? So obviously, I think we all agree that Ruben Diaz is probably player of the season. But there are other players who were stars. Like, I look at Patrick Bamford and I'm like, this is a coming of age season for him. He can actually be a striker for a top 6 looking for a team. Like, I look at Leicester and I'm like, if I'm Leicester, I'm like, okay, Patrick, how much? Okay, they're probably going to ask for the world, but he's the type of guy who can take over from a Jamie Vardy. And yeah, do you have any other guys who are stars who shone brightly?
Jeez, I think Mo Salah is really hard to overlook. I mean, yeah, Liverpool had a very disappointing season in comparison to their previous 2 seasons, but wow, Mo Salah still keeps doing the things from out wide, and yeah, 20 odd goals. Oh, one more player, Edouard Mendy, as well.
Oh, he was sensational. Oh my word! And the thing about it, we're gonna see him in AFCON instead for Senegal, so that's great. The rest of us, yeah, but it's pretty cool. Dean, do you have any other players that you're like, okay, this guy had a great season, he's not being spoken about that much?
Look, I think obviously Bruno's in that conversation, naturally. But the one guy, and it's probably star of the season, but also probably a bit of a surprise of the season for me, was just because of the darts that I think we all had, was Mason Mount. I think he definitely he did have a lot of darters, and I think, you know, with all the Lampard jokes we used to make, and I mean the kid's proven himself.
Think about he played himself into England's starting lineup.
Yep. Yeah.
That's essentially what the season was.
That Chelsea team without him looked very different to a Chelsea team with him. So it's definitely the
Manchester United without Harry Maguire. It's pretty much. Somehow Harry Maguire doesn't play and they can't score goals. Would you consider Harry Maguire? Speak about Harry. Would you consider him a star? He played all but I think 2 games this season, and United had, I think, was it the 4th best defense? Even though Arsenal had a better defense than them, but yeah, we're 7th. Guys, we ended up in 8th, so who cares?
I would say yes. I think Ruben Diaz would have that first centre back spot in the Premier League team of the season, and then Maguire would take the second. Maguire was colossal for United. Seeing United without Harry Maguire is different to Harry Maguire with him. Although he's not perfect. He's not perfect.
We saw that last night. I think he would have helped you score goals, by the way. I don't know how, but yeah. And then I look at a guy like Phil Foden, Luke Shaw. They've come through. They're all role players. Jesse Lingard is one guy I'm like, had he played the entire season at West Ham, would West Ham have been in Champions League?
Maybe.
I don't know about this because, I mean, he did light it up when he went there. But, I mean, over the past month and a bit, the end of the season, he was a bit quiet. It wasn't, you know, so I don't know if it was just a bit of a spark. Okay, I'm ready to play. And then, you know, you have that little spur of energy, or if it was sustainable. And I mean, we'll never know probably. But I would say Jesse's in there. I mean, again, he played himself into the England squad, so he's there.
Look,
So
To be fair, Jesse, when at the start of the season, he was struggling with mental health and all of that. So it wasn't like he was ready to play. He was really not in a good place. And then finally, change of scenery helped. So it wasn't like he was going to play 38 games. He played what he could, which is fair to him.
Well, that second half got him into that England side, so that's really good. So the one other guy I wanted to just highlight, or two guys, I think, actually, Watkins and DCL. Who would you have? Who would say had the better season? Was it Watkins? Was it DCL?
It's very different seasons because Watkins coming from the Championship and then DCL's been in the Prem for a while, obviously. But I would arguably say, in terms of strikers, so if Harry Kane had to leave, what striker would I want to replace him? And I'm going Watkins in that case, just because I think his ceiling is higher than DCL. And I mean, that's a big kind of thing to make off the bat. But I think Watkins does a little bit more for the team than what a DCL does for Everton. So Watkins moves around. Even if he's not scoring goals, he's in there and about. He's kind of that working number 9. So I would take Watkins, but both great seasons. I mean, DCL had a flyover season right off the bat. So, and everyone was talking him up. So, great call there.
Yeah, and obviously we can't end this conversation without giving our props to Heung-min Son. You had an incredible season. Just I don't know what happened to Spurs.
What about someone from Leeds like Rafinha? I know we've spoken about Bamford, but I dig Rafinha.
Rafinha and Dallas is unreal. Dallas is insane. Even Melia. I mean, Melia's a good keeper.
You're looking for a left back, go get Stuart Dallas. Please.
Yeah.
No,
he's a bit old, though.
I like Stuart Dallas. Don't go to Arsenal.
I need someone to cover for Kieran Tierney. And someone who can play. No. You see? He's my star of the season at my club. I love Bukayo Saka. Him and ESR were just...
Well, there's not a big pool to choose from, Paul. You've got
I know, right? Because, let's go to the flops of the season. Actually, let's do that. Ooh. Who are your flops of the season? I have a very long list.
What does it classify to be a flop? Like, how many games do they need to have played?
No, let's just do it like this. If you expected something from someone and they did not give it to you by a large margin, that's it. So, for instance, Emerick Aubameyang got paid all the money in the world. I understand, dog, you had malaria and you had some other, and it was a COVID season. I get it. But you can't give me, 13 goal and assists in this season when the previous season you were giving me 25 plus? Nah, fam. Nah, You got left behind by your peers. So he's the first flop. The other flop is that coach in the dugout, Mikel Arteta. God, I'd have taken a full season you playing 3-4-3. I'd have taken that entire season. But then you decided to be clever and smart and decided to go to a back four. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But the problem was you're a defensive mastermind. You just don't know how to get these guys to score. So, sorry, dog. 8th position, I'm sorry. You flopped there. So those are my 2 flops. What are your flops, Dean?
Jose Mourinho. Biggest flop of the Premier League for sure. But if we're looking at guys that are still have a job in the Premier League, Doherty's obviously up there. I think the hype that everyone had. I think the reason why he flopped is obviously the position he played in Wolves is that flying wing back. The position Jose wanted him to play is that flat 4 defend, and he's just not used to it. So hopefully with a new coach coming in, I prefer us with the wing backs and a back 3. Jose didn't like it. So hopefully we can, because there's still a player in there. He can still do the things that we saw him do against Wolves, but Doherty's definitely up there for me. And I was thinking about it the other day as well, a name that's probably not, it's not a top 6 name or anything like that, but a guy that I was expecting a little bit more from this season and didn't deliver was Adama Traore for sure.
There's no Jimenez also.
There's no Jimenez, but the guy, I mean, I think he scored 1 goal all season. I mean, he's got the best dribbles
Hold up. So Luis Enrique picked the guy who scored 1 goal in the entire season to go to Euro for Spain.
I think he's got 1 goal, though. I think 1 goal or 1 assist to the whole season.
Yeah, because he doesn't play for
Traore.
Real Madrid, guys. If I was Spanish and I didn't play for Real Madrid, I'd be going to Spain.
Go to Euros.
Yeah, that's how it works now.
But I mean,
Okay,
in
so
terms of that, I mean, obviously Jimenez in that Wolves team is a different thing, but Traore is an impact player who you do expect a little bit more from. And I watched him play against Spurs, and he was obviously the only man that looked like he could do something. And when Wolves play, he always looks like he can do something. He just never does. So, that for me is a sign of a flop.
what about the German signings at Chelsea? Were they flops? Or was one of them a flop? And tell me which one.
I mean, I'd take both of them as flops. I think the expectation that they both come in, stories of Lampard phoning them and begging them to come to Chelsea, Werner being the top goal scorer with Germany and now man misses open goal, has to try and hit it with his hand. I mean, I think the biggest thing with a flop is the expectation levels. And I think for the expectation levels of both of those guys were so high. And for them to not even come to 5% of that, I think that's the definition. I mean, there's obviously guys, like we say, Jesse Lingard, who gets the shot, who gets a chance, and he grabs it with both hands and he runs it, So for me, I put both. They'll probably have a great season next season, but we'll see.
AB, I want to put Anthony Martial, but I kind of feel bad because he didn't play many games. But when he did play, he looked horrible.
He was average. I mean, I'm going to give you 3 flops. So I'm going to give you 1 Frank Lampard. Yeah, I mean, he was given the second, in my opinion, actually. I called Chelsea to finish second in the Premier League at the start of the season because of the squad they had. And Frank, what? He was like, 9th when he got fired or something ridiculous. He clearly couldn't. I mean, if Ollie's a PE teacher, Frank is I don't know why Frank is. But anyway.
He's an LO teacher, bro.
Hey, look, he's going to go to Crystal Palace next season. He's playing the Coin Mistress now. We know.
But that's his level, though. That's what he should have done straight after Derby.
Dude, wait, Frank. What's Frank going to do with McCarthy, MacArthur, Milivojevic, Zaha, the other IU brother, who I don't think is the better IU brother, and and Van Aanholt, who I think is great. I think the only person
I take Van Aanholt.
I take out Van Aanholt. But like, what is he going to do with those oaks? Like,
look, I don't know. Maybe
he might as well just get the kid, get a number, and join them as well because they're all.
That would be fun. That would be fun. So yeah, definitely Frank for me. Donny van de Beek, because I mean, Alisson's got the same amount of goals as he does in the Premier League. So there's that.
Is he a flop? He didn't play. That's the thing.
So
that's tough.
It's a very tough one, but still at the same time, I feel like when he did play, he was very meh.
It's like me saying Lee Grant had a bad goalkeeping season.
I mean, Lee Grant's always had a bad goalkeeping season, to be fair.
Well, he got a medal yesterday, a runners-up medal. I was like, he's there.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And then a left field one, I'm going to go with Ryan Brewster.
Dude, no.
Sheffield. They signed him for like £30 million or something stupid.
Fair.
And people were like, how?
He's
and
19.
We all called him not to be a good player. They signed him for that money and he did nothing.
Yes. So it's the Sheffield. It's Sheffield as a whole that's a flop. The execs, this season was just horrible.
Guys, that was like money laundering right there. You can't sign that 20 million or whatever, 25, I don't know.
Folks didn't put up a 5. Like, I'm sitting there going, but like, dude, last year.
Oh, no, they did at Old Trafford. 100% they did.
No, they beat, like, everyone wins at Old Trafford. Even Arsenal wins at Old Trafford. It's not like a big thing. Tottenham won it. Tottenham scored.
Maybe a lesson.
And then they fired their manager. So, like, maybe that's the thing. I'm with Sheffield there, and I'm so the one team that I'm like of the relegated teams that I'm sad about. It's just Fulham. West Brom, sorry guys, it was too late. Like what
care about West Brom.
The fact that they didn't make any signing, I'm sorry, but Sheffield, dude, Nah, fam. At least, like good, like dude, they played that 3-5-2, whatever it is, with who was that defender last year, Chris Basham or whoever it was.
Lundstrom.
Yeah,
No.
Lundstrom just bombing up the
Lundstrom.
middle. Why can't they just do that again? You're trying to
Fair
be
enough.
fancy. You see, when you try to be fancy, you get relegated. This is Mikel Arteta into this. Stop being fancy. Okay, next one.
Wait, I've got one more name. How's about
Okay.
this? One more name. James
Okay.
Rodriguez.
No,
Do we call James a flop though?
no. Thiago's more of a flop than James.
No ways. Look at what
I
Everton
even
was
put
doing.
some-
Everyone was calling Everton. Oh, yeah, this is Everton. Yeah, we're going to go top 4. Crash and burn. Carlo
Oh yeah,
Ancelotti.
no, they ended up in 10th. We beat them.
Exactly. Finished below Arsenal.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And Leeds. So that's okay. Yeah, okay. Let's call James a flop. Okay, I'm in. I'm in.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm triggered.
I know you had him for your first month of FPL.
Exactly.
So I'm with you, AB. I
Yeah.
get you. So let's go to coach of the season.
Oh, easy.
Did Thomas Tuchel play enough games to be considered
Yes.
coach?
100% yes. Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah. Picking up a team from 9th, finishing third. But they finished
Fourth.
finishing 4th, and then Champions League final. No one in their right mind would have thought that was possible.
And
And
FA Cup final.
Cup final.
And FA
Oh,
Cup
he also
final.
can't win cup finals. It's just weird. He's lost 2 in a row now. It's
Fair.
like what's going on? What about Marcelo Bielsa?
No.
Finish the team coming up from the championship.
No.
Is that enough? And also a statement win at Anfield. Did he beat them? He drew with Anfield on the first.
Leeds took points off pretty much not all the top 6, or at least a lot of the big guys. So I think Bielsa's
Because
up
Arsenal
there.
can't just be Pep though.
Yeah. Well, Pep. I mean, Pep will win the award for sure. Obviously. At
What
the end
about
of the-
Graham Potter? Even though his team can't score goals. Well,
Future Spurs coach.
League on XG.
He's an XG specialist, which doesn't mean you
Yeah,
coach of the
expected
league.
goals Champions League.
We should give him the expected coach of the season.
Yeah.
The actual goal coach of the season.
because that was ridiculous, and he needs to play Percy more.
What about a little
Okay.
David Moyes? David Moyes could be thrown in the
And David Moyes can never be coach of the season. They were in Champions League with a month to go. They ended up in Europa League. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. Yes, they
Well,
made it,
it's the same with
And
Brendan
well done.
Rodgers then. It's the same
Yeah.
with Brendan Rodgers. Yeah.
but that's why I didn't bring up Brendan Rodgers because he flopped. Brendan Rodgers is a final day crisis. It's like it even happened with Liverpool that season. So he's used to this. This is the pattern now. He lost.
They're going to
the
throw
league.
Ryan Mason as coach of the year because he can beat Leicester.
Although,
in the
to
final
be
season.
fair to Brendan Rodgers, he has won more trophies than Klopp this season.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Won more trophies than United.
An FA Cup. FA Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
We never mentioned Oli in this all, so I'm fine with not. But I mean, yeah, like, and he.
But does
yeah,
Oli
this-
deserve to be in the
No.
nominations list?
No.
So you're saying this season, this number 2 is all Bruno and Harry? No.
No. I'm just saying there are a lot of coaches like Tuchel, like Moyes, for example, like Rodgers, who did better work as a manager than where their teams finished versus Oli.
Okay.
If Oli went from third to first, by all means, but third to second, not really. Nah.
Okay. So final one we're going to discuss is signing of the season. It can't be Ruben Diaz. It has to be someone like Ruben Diaz because that's just easy.
Edouard Mendy.
Woo! Thiago Silva. Oh, Thiago Silva. That's why I'm ending. Because he helped them. Like, he was great. Got injured.
Okay.
He's been, at 38 years old, still probably the best defense in the league with Edouard Mendy. I'm with you.
We also have Ozan Kabak. He was good.
Man's going back to Schalke.
What about that Nat Phillips? What was his name? Nat Williams?
No, but
Nat
he's
Phillips from Derby?
an academy player though. To be fair, isn't he?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
he? Didn't they buy him?
No,
don't
Williams, my signing of the season. I think he really did quite well. He really stepped up. really gave us what he wanted. But yeah, but in all honesty, I think Ollie Watkins has been the steal of the season. A lot of people thinking were second guessing as to whether he was the striker to pull out of the championship, and Aston Villa went for it, and he helped them get high as possible up that log. He did struggle a bit. I think that team struggles without Grealish, but I think the big boys should be looking at Aston Villa with their eyes peeled, trying to figure out how much they're going to break up for. The only person who's probably going to stay is Ross Barkley, who had a great season, but just not good.
I would. You might throw Fofana in that list if you're looking at signing.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Fofana.
Leicester do something, hey.
Kufal from West Ham.
Just sign these guys, and I mean Lingard is technically a signing. He was a loan signing.
Well,
and Leicester's recruitment is second to none, though.
Yeah, well,
Leicester
their
just keep
development as well. They can take a fairly average player and turn him into something that fits their system perfectly, and make them work for the team.
But West Ham's model is if you play well in Eastern Europe, we bring you in. So that's West Ham's situation. Leicester is if you play well in France, you got a one-way ticket into the Premier League. I'm just surprised they didn't pick up Edouard Mendy because I think Kasper Schmeichel might be. They need to reconsider that decision. I'm not sold on Kasper Schmeichel yet. Well, he's been a great goalkeeper, but I think it might be time to look for someone else. But
I mean, Cavani did his job. He did more than what was expected in many fans.
He is a very sneaky candidate for signing of the season. He was really,
but I don't think he beats the Mendys of this world.
Same with Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale, right there. Yeah.
Whoa, but I'm going to use his argument here. Oak was goals when you guys were winning game, when you already won games. Cavani came in and just scored when they needed him.
Yeah, I mean, Cavani led us to losing the Europa League final,
and getting you guys kicked out of the Champions League.
Exactly, there you go.
We weren't leading on Sunday when Gareth Bale came and scored.
That's true. That is very true. But then we didn't anticipate Kasper Schmeichel getting balls through his legs and God knows what he was trying to do.
No, Gareth Bale's not anywhere near signing of the season. I just think he had a better season than some would have thought he would have at halfway. So
okay.
I think that's the only reason.
Okay, so one final thing for this Cheap Seats episode is off-season decisions, early off-season decisions. I'm going to give you a team. You're just going to give me what you think they need to improve on. And we're just going to go down the bigger teams. I've even included Leicester here for James. So that's going to be quite cool.
Included Leicester. We keep bantering them. Won an FA Cup from top 4 5. We'll include them.
No, but they're big. It's a top 7 now, guys. Okay, maybe exclude us because, yeah. So the champions, what do they need in the off season? It's early. What do you think? If you're Pep, what do you think you want to improve?
Who are you asking this to?
Either one of you.
Obviously, I mean, City get a strike and they win everything for the next.
But is it as simple as Harry Kane? Is Pep gonna come and recreate the wheel and give us, I don't know, Phil Foden as a striker wearing the number 9 jersey, the number 10?
The thing with City is City's got every single kind of even any combination Pep can think about, they can play because of the squad depth and the quality they have. So he can play 3-4-3, he can play 3-5-2, he can play 4-4-2, he can do whatever he wants, and it'll work because those
he can play a band of 5-5.
He can play whatever he wants. So people say, certain players don't fit that City team. Pep will make the team fit you if he wants to. So if City won they ran right with the league, they'll probably win the Champions League this weekend, and they won Carabao Cup, which fine isn't a big thing without a striker. So imagine them with. So that's
and with Harry Kane, for example.
Let's stop mentioning that name.
Let's stop. Okay, cool. Okay, the question was City. Who do you think they should let go? I've already mentioned Nathan Ake. I think he needs to find someone else. But he's not gonna play. Are there any players you like they need to move on? I think Fernandinho they need to move away from. They already have Rodri and Rodrigo as his replacements.
But let him retire. He's captained the club. He's served the club well. Yeah. I mean,
look,
let him do his thing.
They'll do the whole you'll sit bench the entire season.
Mendy, they need to let go of Mendy. I mean, he can walk on. Man can play.
Own that left side, hey?
Yeah. So Mendy can walk.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, Manchester United. I know you're keeping Edinson Cavani. He needs to strengthen this early season without obviously seeing academy players and stuff like that.
Needs a
Dean,
defense.
you can answer this actually. I'm curious to see.
Man needs a centre back that he can partner with Maguire. Because what United without that Maguire, they look worrisome. But I also think, and I think we saw it in the game last night. In terms of that attacking three, they've got Cavani fine. They gave him the extra contract. But when your legs are tired with Rashford and Greenwood, they don't have anyone else they can turn to. Fine, they signed a Mud, whatever. There's no one else there's not that impact player or someone that you can say he will create something or do something. So I think centre back, and I definitely think someone up front, or who it might be, where left or right
turn
wing.
Cavani into a bench super sub. So you now go for a number 9 who can start games and score you at least 15 goals with Cavani coming on and giving you 10 to 12.
And Martial's not anywhere close.
Sell that guy. Like send them back to France.
Martial's Palace quality.
So my ideal window is Declan Rice, because Fred is Fred. Jadon Sancho, because he can play on the left, he can play on the right, and Rafael Varane, because he's
knowing your is there anyone else?
No, that's three signings.
So knowing the Glazers, you're only gonna get one. So which one do you want the most?
James Tarkowski. That's who we're gonna get.
Okay, Tarky. Get ready, my man. You're going all the way.
Yeah. Hey, Denmi is quality.
I would take it.
That's what it sends back.
Okay. So next team on that list is Liverpool. Are there any changes they need to look at? I say a replacement for Firmino or someone who can come in and play that line a lot higher than what Firmino is currently doing.
So we know they're getting Konate, right? The centre back.
Yeah, Ibrahima.
Yeah, but if I were Klopp, I would go and throw money at Werner. I think Werner would be perfect for Liverpool as a number 9, and then you have Mane, Werner.
Already, we've been through this before.
But Werner's he's not cutting it at Chelsea. He's not finding that.
Big call.
You know how Torres went to Chelsea? It should go the other way. Mm-hmm. And maybe
so they're going to arrive in the boardroom and be like, remember how we let you get Fernando Torres? Do the same with Timo Werner. Okay.
Exactly.
I don't disagree with you on that take. I just don't think that Chelsea are going to. Yeah. Unless if they got Harry Kane. Which would be even wilder in the London football situation.
I don't think
he might get, it might just get wild. Okay.
Is it not time to ship Mane though? Who do you replace him with? First question. But
Diogo Jota.
Can Jota play that left side week in, week out though?
He's not going to get you the amount of goals that Mane can get you, which is why he was a sneaky candidate for flop of the season, even though I think he redeemed himself towards the back end. But
the last game week, guys, I brought Mane in. Yeah. I got 2 goals. That was it.
The problem with Klopp's players, with Liverpool's players, is it's a system. So if you start taking someone out, it stops working. And that's what he found out. And at the moment he started tinkering with it, it just stalled.
Guys, Jadon Sancho can play for Liverpool very easily in that system.
Then who are you going to get?
James
Tarkowski.
Send them Dan James. Okay, Chelsea. Does Chelsea need to spend in this window?
No.
Where do they need to spend if they need to spend?
No.
I don't think they need to spend. I agree. I don't think they need to spend. They need to go on shooting practice just for Werner.
Or what they could do is ship Werner out with cash plus Werner for Kane. And there you go.
Yeah, so
I've seen that.
I'm looking at that center mid for Chelsea. Kovacic, I know Kante is staying, but Kovacic and Jorginho, I think they need to move off of them. They need to find, okay, they can't get Declan Rice because they already told us they're not going to do the left back situation. But they need someone in there to partner with Kante to do that whole double pivot, unless if they want to still play that 3-4-3 and Mason Mount can play deep.
But they've also got Loftus-Cheek who can play as an 8 in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea
got relegated with Fulham though. So,
it's still
enough for Fulham.
I mean, Dean Henderson played for Sheffield, and then
look what happened.
They were still a bad team. They were still a bad team. They got
stuck with Ramsdale, and Ramsdale relegated Bournemouth. So it's all your fault.
Chelsea need to watch that midfield three though, because if they just keep with, like you said, Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, they're going to end up in the same situation Madrid are with an old Modric, Casemiro, and Cruz. So look at getting some young blood that can learn from it is a good point.
Yeah. So then the next team, the big team, Leicester City, where do they need to look at? I know they're getting another defensive midfielder in anticipation that Wilfred Ndidi gets called up to one of your teams. But I'd say I'd look for, or if Iheanacho's not your replacement for Vardy, get your replacement for Vardy.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they also need another number 10 outside of James Maddison, who can come in when James Maddison gets injured. Or because they lost Harvey Barnes and Maddison, I kind of felt, okay, maybe those were their 2 10s. But I just do think they kind of need to get that extra layer of players to cover each of the spots, so you can end up having 2 in each position and injuries don't kill you as much as it did this season.
I think a Dan James to Leicester would be an insane transfer.
Yeah,
seen that floating around, and I think Dan James could work there just with the Brendan Rodgers coaching. And I agree. I think Iheanacho replacing Vardy, but then you've got someone like Dan James with his pace running off of him as well. I think that could start, spelling a lot of trouble for a lot of teams.
I would even be so bold to do a swapsies, Donny van de Beek for James Maddison. I think James Maddison would fit United.
I mean, you're gonna have to give Donny van de Beek and probably 50 mil for James Maddison is what they would ask.
But yeah, I mean,
no, guys, why are you guys wasting Donny? Donny's gonna play in the Euros, and you guys are gonna watch him and be like, "Oh, look, sell Donny to like Real Madrid for like 60 million and just call it quits." Like,
fine.
The kid's good enough.
He's good enough. He just doesn't play. He just doesn't play.
Okay, so Tottenham, apart from the coach,
no, but aren't West Ham next on the log?
Lovely cat. Wait, no, we're not talking West Ham. We know what West Ham needs. They need, I don't know. Okay, let's talk West Ham. What do West Ham need? I think they need another striker. I think
they need an Antonio replacement or a Antonio partner.
Yeah, someone who can compete with him. Because obviously that guy who went to Ajax didn't necessarily do. What was the dude that went to Ajax?
I always get confused between Nizoak and Joe Linton. Can't remember.
Who went to Ajax from West Ham?
They forgot him. Ajax forgot it. Ajax don't even know who he was because they forgot him off the team sheet. Remember, for Champions League or something. They forgot the guy's name on the thing. But I agree. I think they need a number 9. But who they go and get? They'll probably find some no-name man from the Croatian league.
No, but they've got Benrahma, who I think is a number 9. I just don't understand why he's not playing down the middle.
I don't understand why he doesn't
for Brentford down the middle, and they're putting him down to the right. But I think for me that's the one. And then also Sebastian Haller.
Sebastian Haller.
Oh, Sebastian Haller.
So the thing with this team is that in the midfield, if Declan Rice leaves, they need to find a replacement for Declan Rice. So I'm assuming they're going to say, we can't sell Declan Rice until we find a partner for him, because without Declan Rice, Souček looked awful. And so that's the one thing that they would need to do, because Mark Noble's old, but he's great from the bench.
West Ham technically don't have Jesse Lingard. So
we know. So you need a number 10.
Yeah.
But they've got Fornals, they've got Lanzini still, who was injured. The quality of a Jesse Lingard is someone that you'd want. So I'd go to the loan market and try to find that type of guy. Mateo Pereira could be a very good addition. in
There
that
we
number
go.
10. Just they can't. Please don't let they can't let him go down to the championship. He's not that quality. He's more quality than that. Okay. We've spoken Liverpool. Spurs. You need a coach. We know that. What else do you need?
A striker?
Yeah, okay. We need a striker, but
Can Son not do the job as your
No.
number 9? Okay.
we need a recognized striker.
What
And
about
Bamford-
Martial? Because Martial for Kane plus cash.
I'm definitely you and Wahid can take that deal and I'll delete Twitter if you guys start bringing that up. But I think
How about
more than anything,
Lacazette plus cash?
no,
I'm
I'll
not
crash the
giving
team bus.
Lacazette to Spurs. We don't do that. Sol Campbell happened once,
Yeah,
and
we
I'm
don't do
assuming William Gallas too.
Spurs need a midfield though. This is my thing. This is the kind of conundrum I'm trying to pick because Højbjerg is not that great. Harry Winks, terrible. Lo Celso, just as bad. Ndombele is the only one that can play, but we haven't
he
seen
doesn't
much of him,
start.
and he's injury prone. So it's like we need a midfield, and I don't know where we're gonna go and find one.
I've got it.
Donny
guess.
van der Beek.
Donny van der Beek for Harry Kane. Done.
I'm not doing Donny van der Beek for Harry Kane. I'll probably take Donny plus Dean Henderson plus a little bit of cash, and
That's
then
fine.
Take
probably
Donny, give them Donny. They can take Fred, and then you can give them Leroy.
No one wants Fred de Boer. No one
Fred
wants-
was the
give them
only person
Bernard.
who I thought was going to miss his penalty last night. I don't know how he scored, but Fred was the
I
only
was
one
like,
I
why
thought
did you
would
bring
miss.
him on the field? That's one of the things with Ole. I was like, dude, why are we bringing Fred on?
I had no idea. But yeah, Spurs have got a
Okay.
lot of players that they need to find, and a lot
Actually,
of players they need
Donny
to
van der
ship.
Beek would do really well at Spurs.
He would, and he chose the wrong club when we were both in for him in the summer. He chose the wrong club, so
No. I think he chose the right club. The only problem was the manager wasn't correct. It wasn't the right manager.
Well, the manager didn't want him. We know this. The manager wanted Grealish. And I can't blame him for wanting Grealish because
that's
Where's
who guys
Jack
are gonna
Grealish
buy.
going this season? Where's he
Spurs.
going to end up?
Chelsea. He could go to Chelsea.
Okay, so you've got Pulisic, you've got
Doesn't matter. It's Chelsea. They'll
you've got
find
that
a way.
entire front line of theirs, and you're going to add Jack Grealish. Oh wow, okay.
Or
finally,
Liverpool, actually, if they sell Mane.
Could work.
Jack Grealish doesn't work that system. He wouldn't work
Okay.
that system. I'm not sure because you need to be the highest lying midfielder, whereas Jack wants the ball. Mo Salah doesn't want the ball. Mo Salah runs into space. So does Mane, and they kind of interlink. The person who wants the ball is Firmino. So maybe, but yeah, it's just weird. So final team, Arsenal. I'll tell you what I think we need, and then you can add. Okay, I need a new coach, by the way. I'm not a fan of Mikel Arteta.
We're
Ryan
talking about
Mason's in
realistic
the
things
market.
here, though, and Paul. You
No,
guys are not
Ryan
getting
Mason
it.
is 100% in the market. guys.
I
Yeah.
hope Ryan Mason
Okay.
goes to you.
I need a partner for Thomas Partey, preferably someone who is. I'd take Matteo Guendouzi. I think he's great, but attitude-wise is a problem. I'd need to go find somebody who can partner this guy and can give us drive from the midfield. So Hussein Awa, who is not even in the French squad, so you can get him for probably 25 mil. That's the one guy I'm looking for. Someone to take it to replace Odegaard, who left. Unless if we can get him back on loan, Real Madrid, please be kind to us. We'll take him for a year. It's fine. We know that Modric is like 37. It's fine. We'll take Odegaard for one last season. And we need a right back and left back. Sal Bellerin. You need a left back for Thingy, and you need a right back, possibly Max Aarons if he's not going to cost a lot, but you can use the Barcelona money that they paid for Bellerin to go and get Max Aarons at Norwich.
I heard he's coming to Spurs, though.
Who? Max Aarons. Dude, okay, then give us Serge Aurier. I will do wonders with Serge Aurier.
He's going to PSG.
Serge Aurier is my favorite type of right back. He just does not take nonsense. But he,
Looks like you. So Paul, you need a midfielder, right? Like a traditional number 8, like a Donny van der Beek sort of player, right?
We don't do that. We don't do those things.
Looking
But
for
we-
Matt Doherty. I saw
yeah,
Matt Doherty.
ESR, Saka, for Van der Beek. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Okay, gents, that's the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining. I think it's ended there. We'll probably have more cheap seats weeks if Euro gets interesting and you want to talk about what the man who wears a waistcoat did. But apart from that, very much for the season, gents. We'll be back again, hopefully in the future, in different formats, whatever it might be, or the same one. But do just check us out on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter and all the different platforms. So thank you, Dean. Thank you, AB. Thank you to Wahid and
Thanks, Paul.
else who's come on the platform. It's not a final show. Oh.
Something happened?
Something must have happened. What is M4 doing?
I don't know. This is exciting. I don't know what to do.
This is a bomb to end this shit. It's the whole season.
Oh man, this is like a penalty. Like David De Gea stepping up, ignoring the sheet of where is M4 coming back? No, he's not coming back.
I mean,
Cool.
I don't know, but we can't.
I don't want to. We're still live. This is amazing.
We are still live. So like,
Tweet us.
if anyone's got any questions, shoot them at ABNR. Oh,
Where's Ollie now?
His laptop died.
Oh, his laptop died. Cool. So we should
It looks
just
kind of like the Arsenal season, so it's fine. I'm used to it.
Oh man. Okay.
What do we
so,
do?
so-
Should we just leave?
I don't know. Yeah, we just leave. We leave.
Let's just leave.
Yeah. Bye everyone.
Cool, guys.